Vlogmas is off to a rough start already.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside.
Good morning, happy Vlogmas Day 2. I'm sure if you're here, you saw Vlogmas Day 1, and it was an empty apartment tour, and it was pre-filmed, but I'll be honest with you guys, I'm going through some stuff emotionally right now, and I just wasn't ready to vlog day 1, so I hope you guys understand, but that is the situation. I'm laying in bed currently, and I'm getting ready to start my day, so I'm gonna go wash my face and brush my teeth, and then I'm gonna head downstairs and make a coffee, and you guys are along for the ride. Well, I'll be honest, it hasn't been the most successful day with vlogging, but I think I'm going to combine this with like a big life update that I'm going to sit down and film tomorrow, which will just be included in this same video since I'll be editing it tomorrow anyways, since I have day 1 going up tomorrow, which is the apartment tour. Things are okay. I'll be honest, like I'm going kind of through a lot emotionally, and before all of that happened, I did like kind of commit to myself that I wanted to do Vlogmas, and I very much want to follow through on that. I want this very, very much to be the first year that I actually go through the entirety of the days. But I'll kind of talk about it when I sit down with you guys either later tonight or tomorrow, and just kind of like touch on everything. You know, I'm wearing makeup right now. I might as well just do it tonight. So I'll just touch on everything. I'm okay. Nothing to worry about. But yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute. Okay. It's been a while since I've made a video, obviously. There's been a lot of reasons for that. Of course, every year I set out with one of my number 1 New Year's resolutions to actually like make videos, like for real. And every year I fail at that. This year I've been a little bit more forgiving with myself for that, and I think that's why I'm able to come into this in a much different headspace than in previous years, where I don't necessarily feel like I have to do Vlogmas because it's like my big welcome back, and I'm gonna be so great after this, because you know, I'm doing it because I want to, and I have the time to right now, and that, I mean, that could end somewhere soon-ish, I don't know. So just a little bit of background as to what's going on. I'm sure all of you have heard of COVID-19, but my life this year has been pretty greatly impacted of literally every single person I know, whether it be friends or family outside of the people who work for my same company. I'm the only one that's been affected. Everybody else has been able to keep working, keep chugging along, and outside of just not being able to do some fun activities, their day-to-day hasn't really changed. And I think the combination of my day-to-day changing overnight and also being the only one was really, really hard. I definitely fell into a pretty deep depression, and you can kind of see I was trying to pull myself out of it. I made a couple of videos earlier this year, and it was more to like make myself happy, because making these videos truly does bring me joy. I really get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I find it entertaining, but ultimately I just wasn't okay. And I just needed the time to not be okay. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm still not okay, but I'm coming out of it. So the number 1 thing that I'm sure you guys will notice right off the bat is I don't live in my apartment anymore. We moved out about a month ago, And this is for a couple of different reasons. One, I really want to be a homeowner, so it didn't make sense to keep renting a place that was taking up a lot of my budget, where I could instead go live with my mom and dad and save some money. Number two is the apartment complex that we lived at was atrocious. I mean, like, the lowest of the low. It was a nice apartment. Our unit was great. I loved our layout and everything that was in the unit. But when it came to the management of that particular community, it just wasn't good. And I can do like a whole segment on like things to look for in an apartment if you guys are interested in that down the road, but that's not for this video. So yes, I moved back in with my parents. This is my parents' beautiful home. I'm really happy to be back and surrounded by people who love me, and not just kind of being alone all the time. Which is something that I struggled with too. I'm definitely not somebody who thrives in an environment where I'm just by myself all the time. And because I was living in the apartment with essentially one other person, we had another roommate, but they were at work all day, every day. And so I spent a good chunk of my time entirely by myself. And that kind of contributed to my negative mental state. So I'm back in a house where I'm surrounded by people, and that's really good. Now, I want to say I don't thrive being entirely by myself, but I am a fairly independent person. Like I don't necessarily need someone, but I definitely value companionship. So things during COVID have been really weird. Like, in any normal circumstance, I could totally live on my own, considering that I'd be able to see family and friends and go do things, and be social. But just with like the mix of everything, it was just not good. So I am an independent person. I don't like need to live with people, but it's definitely nice during this time. The second and the actual probably biggest thing that's happened is Connor and I broke up, and it's been really hard. If I'm being honest with you, I'm 3 days past breakup at this point, and I'm really sad. It was completely civil, 100% mutual. I would very much like to have him as a friend, but I think right now both of us just need some time. We got to a point, you know, where I think we realized that we were growing more apart instead of growing together anymore. And we both needed to either focus on ourselves and do a lot of personal growth, or it would just be the end of any kind of relationship with each other. And so because we value having each other in each other's lives, it was more worth it for us to break up, be friends, still be a part of each other's lives, and not have any kind of resentment towards each other, than to have a big explosive breakup further down the road where we just wouldn't see each other ever again. So I think we did the mature thing and, you know, really just took a deep look at what was going on. And I'm not gonna like air all of our dirty laundry because, you know, like any relationship, there were problems, but I think a lot of those things, I think all of those things need to be kept private. And between Connor and I, he is, again, still my friend. Like, I'm not just going to throw him off to the side and never see him again. So if you guys see him on the channel, it's a good thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're together. But yeah, I mean, he's a good guy, you know, I still want him in my life. So that's the other big thing that's happened. And then, of course, you know, I'm currently on furlough because of Washington State's governor putting us back on kind of a restriction. The business that I work for, I work in the entertainment industry. And the business that I work for is one that was pretty heavily impacted during this time. We haven't been able to go to work. Well, we went back to work for a little bit. So from March until about mid-October, I was out of work. I was on unemployment, and this is not a brag, but I make a decent amount of money, and finding a minimum wage job was not in the cards for me. I wouldn't have been able to survive if I did that, even if it were full-time. So I was kind of in a place where I was stuck, and I'm kind of in that place again. So things are kind of weird, and you might notice a little bit of difference in me because of that. And I'll be honest, COVID and the lockdowns and quarantine has changed me. I'm a different woman than I was coming in. So, you know, but I think I'm coming out of like the worst of the funk. I'm definitely feeling better. Definitely have gotten my sense of motivation back. So it'll be nice. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and promise you that I will be diligent about getting every single day of Vlogmas up like I've tried to in years past. Because if I'm being honest, I might just have a rough day and I might just need a day off, and I hope you guys can understand that. So all of this to say that yes, this is Vlogmas. I am going to try to get every single day up. It's my goal. But if I truly, truly just need a mental health day, I'm gonna take that. And I hope you guys can understand, just with the mix of things that is going on in my world. I'm sure most of you can kind of get where I'm coming from. With that said, I also, being broke and on unemployment again, I am not going to be doing a lot of things like we did in last year's Vlogmas. So this is going to be a lot of home vlogs. You're going to see a lot of dog content. I've got 4 little fluffy guys that live here with me, and my family. Luckily, they all like hanging out with me. So, you'll see a lot of dog content. Danny's doing great. Bailey is with Connor, and she is doing amazing. She has had a lot of growth as well, just in the month that we haven't been living at our apartment. And I'm really proud of her for doing that. So she's doing great. She, however, does not live with me, so you won't be seeing very much of her. But we've got some old faces you guys might recognize if you watched any of my old videos. But we have Danny, of course, Ziggy, who is Danny's son, Grayson, and then one guy that you guys probably haven't met. His name is Luther, and he is Grayson's best friend in the whole world. But there might be some content like that, and honestly, I'm gonna take like a very Jenna Marbles approach to this channel from now on. I'm just gonna make stuff I want to make. I'm not gonna try to like niche myself. I know that that's like the big recommendation when you're trying to grow a channel, but honestly, I'm not a person that can kind of fit in a niche. So this channel is just gonna be kind of like a lifestyle channel, and my lifestyle is kind of all over the place. So I hope you guys are along for the ride. But yeah, that's the big update. I hope you enjoy me talking a lot. I promise not all videos will be as like somber as this one, or as like serious, I guess, as this one. But I wanted to be really real with you guys and just be super upfront that the expectation is definitely not the same on my end, and I hope that you guys can understand. But with all of that said, I am doing Vlogmas this year, if you haven't already guessed by the fact that this is Vlogmas Day 2. So I hope you guys will subscribe, and I hope you're along for the ride, and I'll see you guys somewhere through Vlogmas. Okay, it is currently 11:12 and I have just finished editing. I've got a whole mess of stuff on the counter here, but I just finished editing my video to go up for tomorrow. This is the apartment tour, so everything's cool. I am so in love with my cute little Vlogmas intro this year. It was so fun to kind of like take something that was already made and just kind of spruce it up a little bit. Way easier than what I tried to do last year, and honestly it looks so much better than it did last year, so I'm very pleased. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm working on drinking water because since the breakup a couple of days ago, I've had zero water intake, literally zero water intake, because I was sad and didn't care about myself. So I'm working on sucking down this 20 ounces of water and trying to feel a little bit better. Hopefully it'll like reinflate this like skin right here, because it's scrunched up real tight. So hopefully, also I'm sorry if I'm talking weird. I've got little aligner trays in because your girl's doing a whole other video thing with this. It's something I've been like self-conscious about my whole life, these two front teeth here. So I've got liner trays in, and I did have a small bite problem, so I do have to wear top and bottom trays. So if I'm talking a little bit funky, that is why. But yeah, I've got my Target stuff. I had to go get some stuff today. Nothing fun enough to do a haul for, so I'm just not going to. And then, yeah, I'm gonna upload this video and have it set for tomorrow. And I'll check in with you guys later on tonight. Well, good morning. It's the next day, and I didn't finish vlogging yesterday, so I'm just coming on to end this right now before I get my day started, and I will see you guys tomorrow with Vlogmas Day 3.